a song that exposes the dark side of the rap world and shows a father's anger when someone messes with his daughter. Ja Rule, 50 Cent, and Suge Knight are just a few of the names mentioned by Eminem in one of the most epic songs in rap history. I'm Guillermo, and today I'm going to reveal the story behind the song Like Toy Soldiers and give a complete analysis of the lyrics here on the Decipher Hits channel. Like Toy Soldiers was the third single from the album Encore, released in 2004. The song begins with the chorus, which is sung by a children's choir and is a sample from the song Toy Soldiers by the American singer Martika, released in '88. Soldiers. The original song tells the story of Martika's friend's battle against cocaine addiction, containing a warning about how harmful drugs can be as they take control of users' lives, just like children control toy soldiers. In Eminem's song, the rapper contrasts the foolish nature of rap feuds with their potentially disastrous outcomes, which is represented on the single's cover by the contrast between the toy soldier and the blood spilled over it. This contrast is also noticed in the song's chorus, which starts like this: step by step, from heart to heart, left, right, and left, we all fall down like little toy soldiers. Little by little, torn apart, we never win, but the battle goes on for the little toy soldiers. The feeling of the chorus is explored and developed throughout the entire song, as we will now see starting from the analysis of the first verse. It is enlightening. My team can't know about this. Here, Eminem is referring to his fear of showing that he feels overwhelmed by the rap drama because he risks losing credibility with people and especially with his team. When Eminem mentions his team, he could be referring to his partners 50 Cent and Dr. Dre, and especially to his former rap group, D12, formed in '96. The group was inactive for a while after Eminem's talent was discovered by Dr. Dre, marking the beginning of his solo career at Aftermath Records in '98. After some time, in 2001, Eminem resumed his activities with D12 with the album Devil's Night, released by his label Shady Records. And on the studio album D12 World, released in 2004, which includes the song My Band, which became a worldwide hit. As a fun fact, you probably already know that Eminem also calls himself Slim Shady. This nickname came about at the beginning of his career when he joined D12. Each of the group members decided to create a nickname for themselves, and it was at that moment that Eminem created his character Slim Shady, which means skinny and shady. And anyone who follows the rapper can already understand the reason for this nickname. Besides that, his real name is Marshall Mathers, and that's where he got his stage name from his initials M and M, which in English sounds like M and Eminem. Continuing the analysis of the lyrics, he says, even if it means I have to go mano a mano against some Benzino out there. In this line, Eminem refers to Raymond Leon Scott, better known as Ray Benzino, an American rapper and co-owner of The Source magazine, with whom Eminem had a feud in the past. The Source is a magazine that publishes hip-hop culture content and usually releases rankings of the best rap albums, giving scores that range from 1 to 5. The feud with Eminem started in the year 2000, after the magazine published a list of the best albums of that year, and rated the Marshall Mathers LP with a score of 2. Eminem thought the rating was unfair because his album sold more than 1.78 million copies in the United States in its first week. After complaints from Eminem, and also due to public pressure, the magazine ended up changing the album's score from 2 to 4. However, this feud didn't end there, and it gained even more visibility in 2002, when several public statements from Benzino came to light. In interviews, accusing Eminem of ruining hip-hop, of being racist, of disrespecting his own mother, among several other accusations. In addition, Benzino started releasing several diss tracks against Eminem. The first was I Don't Wanna, released in 2002.
I don't care how many records you sell. Disrespect your mom, bitch, you deserve a smack.
And after a while, Eminem started to respond to the allegations and release his own diss tracks against Benzino, making this beef last for a long time.
Put me on your fucking cover just to sell your little sellout mag. I ain't mad, I feel bad. Here's an ad.
Continuing the analysis of the lyrics, Eminem raps, "It doesn't matter. I never drag them into battles I can't handle, unless I absolutely have to. I have to set an example. I need to be a leader. My team expects me to guide them. If any shit happens, I have to be by their side." Eminem shows that he avoids involving his team in his conflicts as much as possible, trying to handle everything on his own and only involving his partners as a last resort. In fact, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, and the D12 crew have already been involved in the beefs against Ja Rule and Benzino, as we will discuss next. And back to the lyrics, he says, "That thing with Ja Rule, I tried to avoid it, but it was already too late. There's a certain line you shouldn't cross." And he crossed it. I heard him say Haley's name in a song, and I just lost my mind. In 2003, Ja Rule released the song Lose Change, which means spare change, clearly mocking 50 Cent's name. In the song, he attacks 50 and Eminem.
And then, fuck loose change, you fat. Yeah, feminine my mama. Murder Inc. is niggas.
Besides attacking Eminem's mother, his ex-wife Kim, and even mentioning the name of their daughter Haley, who at the time was only 7 years old.
You say your mother's a crackhead and Kim is a nose, so what's Haley gonna be when she grows?
At the time, Ja Rule was protected by one of the biggest drug dealers in New York, Supreme, which gave him the confidence to go after other rappers. But after seeing that Ja Rule had mentioned his daughter's name in the lyrics, Eminem got furious and responded with the song Hail Haley's Revenge, which featured the group D12.
12.
Haley, what do you want to be when you grow up, baby?
I don't know, but I don't want to grow up to be like Ja Rule's little dirty-ass kid.
Eminem continues with the following line. "It was crazy. The situation was way worse than what happened between Jay-Z and Nas." This beef between Jay-Z and Nas started in a way that was considered mild, with the rappers attacking each other's looks and careers, which wasn't anything too serious at first. However, things got more serious in his song Super Ugly.
I came in your Bentley backseat, skeeted in your Jeep, left condoms on your baby seat.
After this episode, Jay-Z's mother made the rapper publicly apologize for his words, something that was unprecedented in the history of rap until then. Continuing with the analysis of the lyrics, Eminem says, "And even though we won the battle, I feel like we lost. I spent so much energy on it that, honestly, I'm exhausted." In this line, Eminem shows that even if there is a so-called winner of the battle, the reality is that there are never any real winners, because the results of these wars can have very serious consequences for both sides. Eminem feels guilty for having fought these battles, as he shows in the next line. "I'm so caught up in this that I feel like I'm the one who caused it. That's not what I'm in hip-hop for. That's not why I got into it. It was never my goal for anyone to get killed. Why would I want to destroy something I helped create?" Although there were advantages, there were also several threats of violence and death in the lyrics that Eminem and the other rappers used to attack each other. There were no deaths as a direct consequence of these beefs, which, unfortunately, did happen with big names like Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. Eminem emphasizes how some beefs harm hip-hop, a musical genre that Eminem himself also helped build and popularize, and that has already been heavily marginalized for being associated with drugs, the degradation of women, and violence. That wasn't my intention. I had the best intentions. I spent my whole career without mentioning the name of... Here, Eminem ends the line without rhyming with the word good, which he did on purpose, because the name that would rhyme with good is exactly the name he chose never to mention, Suge. Suge Knight is the co-founder of Death Row Records and one of the most controversial and feared names in hip-hop history, mainly due to rumors of his involvement in the deaths of Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., and Eazy-E. And that was just out of respect, so I wouldn't say too much and end up talking about something I knew nothing about. Besides that, Dre asked me to stay out of it, that this wasn't my beef. Here, Eminem states that he never mentioned Suge Knight's name in his songs, at Dr. Dre's request. Dr. Dre was the rapper who helped Eminem at the beginning of his career, and whom Eminem has a lot of respect and admiration for. Suge and Dr. Dre had a disagreement in the past, when Dr. Dre decided to leave the record label Death Row Records, which he was a part of along with Suge at the time. The two, along with DLC and Dick Griffey, founded the label in '91, and together they released albums by big names in West Coast hip-hop, like Snoop Dogg, Tupac, and Dr. Dre himself. Dr. Dre was the music producer at Death Row, who actually came up with and made the beats and the rhythm of the songs together with the rappers, while Suge was the guy who took care of the label's business. According to the book Welcome to the Death Row, over time, Dre became uncomfortable with the rough and reckless way Suge started managing Death Row, and also with the atmosphere of violence that took over the label. Suge was known for his large build, almost 1.90 meters tall and 120 kilograms, which matched his extremely intimidating behavior as he was excessive in his actions, and many times mixing gangs and crime into the record label's business, which ended up causing several internal conflicts. In addition, he used the record label to fuel the rivalry between West Coast and East Coast rappers in the United States. This rivalry was created by Suge himself, after a speech he gave as a representative of Death Row at an awards show on the East Coast, where he made indirect comments about Bad Boy Records, Puff Daddy's label based in New York, which launched East Coast rappers like Notorious B.I.G.
Any artists out there who want to be an artist and want to stay a star, just don't want to have to worry about the executive producers trying to be in all the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
Dre never agreed with this rivalry created by Suge, which kept getting more intense every day, fueling fanatical support for rappers from one region and hostility toward rappers from another. Some say that Suge Knight saw this war as an opportunity to promote himself, and that's why he supposedly planted conspiracies and hatred in the minds of Tupac and Big, pitting one against the other, so that this beef would escalate even more. But that's just a theory. Nothing has been proven. What is known is that Tupac was ambushed and shot in '94 when he went to New York. From then on, Tupac started accusing Big of betrayal. All these beefs and the atmosphere of violence that Suge was bringing to rap and to Death Row went completely against Dre's principles, who just wanted to produce his music and give hip-hop a positive image. All of this led Dr. Dre to decide to leave Death Row in '96. That same year, Dre founded his own record label, Aftermath Entertainment, which would later produce Eminem's album, The Slim Shady LP, released in '99. Back to the lyrics, Eminem says, "That's what I did. I stayed out watching and grinding my teeth while he was all over TV belittling the guy who literally saved my life." After Dr. Dre left Death Row in March of '96, and also after Tupac's death in September of that same year, things got even more tense between the rappers, and Suge started insulting Dre publicly on TV and kept it up for many years. Eminem was really upset about it, but even so, he kept quiet out of the huge respect and gratitude he has for Dre, who was the guy that mentored him in rap, basically saving his life, as he said in an interview with MTV in '99.
So for Dre to take me from nothing and make me into something, you know, I feel like Dre saved my.
The fact that Dre saved Eminem's life could also have another meaning, since Suge Knight allegedly tried to kill Eminem on at least 2 different occasions, as his former bodyguard Big Nas revealed in a radio interview in 2016. The first time was in 2001 at a hip-hop award event by The Source. Big Nas noticed a lot of movement from Blood's gang members mentioning Death Row and saying they were going to take out Eminem in the name of Suge Knight. And the second time was in Hawaii, when Suge sent about 50 men to try to invade Snoop Dogg and Eminem's show in Honolulu. On both occasions, Eminem's life was spared thanks to the actions of his security guards and Dr. Dre, who stayed by his side the whole time on high alert. Eminem continues the lyrics talking about staying out of Dre's beef with Suge and says the following, like, "Fuck it, I get it. This is business, and that shit just isn't my concern." Here, Eminem explains that he understands Dre's request not to mention Suge in his songs and not to get involved in that beef, because, in fact, it was a fight that wasn't his, but rather between the two of them, Suge and Dr. Dre. In the expression, "this is business," Eminem meant that these beefs are completely normal and are part of hip-hop. In fact, the culture of beefs among rappers turns out to be a very profitable business, since many of the most successful rap lyrics are exactly those that talk about fights, often breaking sales and streaming records. Going back to the lyrics, Eminem continues, "But still knowing that this thing can blow up at any moment." In this line, Eminem shows that, even though he understands he shouldn't get involved in their fight, he remains cautious and aware of what's happening, because he fears that someday this fight could escalate and lead to disastrous results, mainly due to Suge Knight's reputation, who is suspected of being involved in several crimes in the rap world. Now, let's start analyzing the second verse of the song, which begins like this. "There was a time when you could just rhyme, without having to worry if one of your friends would die because of it." Eminem points out that in the old battles, rappers didn't have to worry so much about the insults they put in their rhymes, because everyone saw it as a healthy musical competition without taking it personally. However, over time, that essence was lost. And now, rappers have to be careful with the words they use in their songs, because they can go beyond lyrics and turn into real violence. But now, that's changed, because once you involve someone's kids in the mix, things escalate. It's not just words anymore, right? At this point, Eminem makes it clear once again that all this beef got bigger when his daughter Haley was mentioned. At that moment, the rappers stopped seeing the disses as just typical rap attacks and started taking them as personal offenses, bringing this beef into real life. The lyrics go on, mentioning a new beef. It's a different game. You're mentioning names and not just rapping. Actually, we tried to prevent the beef between 50 Cent and Jahuli from happening. The beef between 50 Cent and Jahuli is an old feud that has been going on since the late 90s, even before 50 Cent became a famous rapper that he is today, and when he didn't even know Eminem yet. Ja and 50 grew up in the same neighborhood in the suburbs of New York, in Queens, and the two started their rivalry in their youth, when they were struggling to make their mark in the rap world. It's impossible to know for sure what really started this fight in the past. In his autobiography, From Pieces to Weight, 50 Cent tells his version of how the beef with Ja Rule started, saying, "A partner of mine stole a chain from Ja. After that, the guy even managed to get the chain back for Ja. Later, Ja saw me at a club, and I was with the guy who robbed him. I went over there to greet him, and from then on, he started acting like he had a problem with me. But I wasn't the one who robbed him." From Ja Rule's point of view, 50 Cent started to dislike him during the filming of Ja Rule's music video Murder for Life in '99, which was being shot on an avenue in Queens. Ja Rule claims that 50 Cent arrived on the set and greeted everyone, but people didn't pay much attention to him and went on with the filming. For Ja Rule, 50 Cent felt disrespected at that moment and started to dislike Ja Rule after that event, which was why the feud began. And in the early 2000s, 50 Cent signed a contract with the partner labels Shady, owned by Eminem, and Aftermath, associated with Dr. Dre. Through these labels, he released his successful album Get Rich or Die Tryin'. Since then, 50 became close to Eminem and Dr. Dre, and they have been longtime friends. Eminem continues to talk about the beef between 50 and Ja Rule in the next line, saying, "Dre and I sat down and talked to him. We asked him not to start anything, and 50 really wasn't going to attack him. Until Ja started talking in magazines about how he screwed 50 over. Screw it. 50 crush him, smash him, let him get screwed." In these verses, Eminem explains that he and Dre always tried to calm the tension in the fight between 50 and Ja Rule. But on March 24, 2000, another chapter in this story would unfold and change the whole situation. On that day, 50 Cent was stabbed when he and the members of his G-Unit crew ran into people from the record label Ja Rule was part of, Murder Inc., at the Hit Factory studio in New York. As always, each rapper has his own version of how the events happened that night. However, the only thing that is certain is that the person who stabbed 50 Cent was Ramel Leroy Gill, known as Black Child. He was a rapper signed to Murder Inc., who was also in the studio recording at that moment. After some time, Black Child confessed that he stabbed 50, but claimed that he acted in self-defense because he realized that 50 Cent was going to pull out a firearm. As mentioned in this line, Eminem was really trying to calm down the beef between Ja and 50. But after seeing Ja bragging in magazines about 50 Cent being stabbed, Eminem lost his patience and decided to encourage 50 to unleash his anger against Ja Rule. Going back to the lyrics, he says, "Meanwhile, my attention was turning in another direction. Some receptionist at the source, who answered phone calls at his desk, would get all excited about me, thinking I would be his resurrection. He tries to blow the dust out of his microphone to make a new song." At this point, the rapper goes back to referring to his beef with Benzino. Eminem claims that the source saw in him a chance to bring Benzino's name back into the spotlight, and the magazine itself, which created controversies to ride on Eminem's fame. And he goes on to say, "But now he's screwed, because one of the reasons I took off was exactly because of that publication, the same one that made me famous." Here, Eminem is referring to a publication made about him by The Source in 1998 in a column called Unsigned Hype, which means hype without a contract. At the time, Eminem still didn't have a contract with any record label, and this column in the magazine ended up helping Eminem gain recognition in the hip-hop industry. Now the owner is mad at me for nothing? Screw it. That rapper can go screw himself too. In these lines, Eminem might be referring to David Mays, the guy who founded The Source magazine, and who also sided with Benzino in the beef against Eminem. But I'm so busy being pissed off that I didn't even stop to think that we just inherited 50's beef with Murder Incorporated. And he inherited mine, which is fine, neither of us cares about that. In this part, Eminem goes back to the main theme of the song. He shows that he was so obsessed with carrying on the beef with Benzino that, without realizing it, he ended up inheriting 50's fight with Murder Incorporated. He says the same thing happened with 50, who also took on his battles. In the rapper's view, this was something natural for both of them, and everything stayed fine between the two, who are still partners to this day. We still have soldiers who are on the front lines, who are willing to die for us as soon as we give the orders. Never to extort us, strictly to show that they support us. In these lines, Eminem says that there are many people who fully support him out of loyalty and respect, and are willing to fight on his behalf. He is probably referring to his friends from Detroit and the D12 crew. In fact, in the music video, Eminem watches a man who is fighting for his life on a hospital stretcher. This man probably represents Bugs, the D12 member and Eminem's friend, who was shot and killed in '99. And the one who plays Bugs in the video is another D12 rapper, Proof, who would also be killed 2 years after filming this video, in 2006. In the following verses, he goes on talking about how important these people are to him, and maybe mentioning their names in a rap or in a chorus, to show that we love them too, and so they know how important it is to have the Runyon Avenue soldiers by our side. Their loyalty means more to us than any award. Runyon Avenue is a street in the Detroit area. It's located near Osborne High School, the school where Eminem used to take part in freestyle competitions, rap battles as a teenager, even though he didn't study there. This street is also close to the famous 8 Mile Road, a Detroit highway that also gives its name to Eminem's movie, released in 2002. But I don't intend to have any of my partners hurt or killed. It's just not worth it. And I can't think of a more perfect way to put this into words than simply saying that I love you guys too much to see the final verdict. I'm going to walk away from all of this before it goes any further. Here, Eminem is saying that he loves his friends too much to let them risk their lives in conflicts that lead to nothing positive. And that's why he prefers to walk away from these pointless battles before it's too late. Which is also not a declaration of defeat, as he makes clear in the following verse. But don't get me wrong, I'm not declaring defeat. I'm just trying to be a mature guy. And that's if you all can stop with the arguments. Then I really can. Because, frankly, I'm tired of talking. I'm not going to let someone else's coffin rest on my conscience. The expression to cop a plea is a legal term that means to plead guilty to a lesser offense during a legal process in order to end the case and avoid it escalating to more serious charges, which makes perfect sense in the context of the song, and this part. Since Eminem is saying that he's not admitting defeat, but simply choosing not to continue with conflicts that don't benefit either side and only bring harm, possibly even ending in death, which he shows he wouldn't even wish on his enemies. If you like this video, I just ask that you like and comment, because that way YouTube will recommend this video to more people. Here on the Dessa for Hits channel, we uncover and explain the meaning and the story behind the great hit songs, which go far beyond just translation. So, if you want to learn more about your favorite songs, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. I'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and see you next time.